All right, Patric Palm, CEO and co-founder of Favro. Patric, let's start with some of the basics. Can you help differentiate between waterfall development and agile development?
Absolutely. So waterfall development is, basically the idea that if you need to have an idea on, how long is a certain project going to take, you break it down into its molecules, and then you basically, put all those tasks, after each other. And if you do that with high precision enough, basically when you have your last task, you're gonna, have your finished product. If something gets, delayed here in the middle, everything shifts later, So, you're using techniques like, for example, it's called leveling, to make sure that this is, always kind of aligned, to the people that you have involved and, basically how many tasks you have. So that is a traditional waterfall approach. There's a big problem with that approach, and that is that it doesn't really take into account all the uncertainties that you typically have in software development. So very often, you might think that you have broken this down into great molecules in the beginning, but it's just so many unknowns that you will discover a lot of stuff during the way. And another way I often speak about this is that, let's say you actually do the project exactly that kind of waterfall way that you had planned. Will you have created the best product that you could? Well, probably not, because you really want to use that learning during this journey to make sure that you make the right course corrections to arrive at the ultimate result. Now, so what happened, basically in the 90s was that some really large software projects started to simply break down. They simply imploded. There was just so much uncertainty that the traditional waterfall method wasn't working too well. So a lot of people kind of got together and thought, well, isn't there a better way? And Agile isn't really kind of one method. It's really an umbrella for a lot of different methods, where maybe Scrum is the most famous one. And not even Scrum is kind of invented. It's really a collection of really good practices that are all optimized for change and taking the unknown into account. So it's an approach for how to navigate when you have a high level of uncertainty. So this is really how these agile practices were born, really out of the need to had a lot of uncertainty, and you do that by using these kind of much shorter iterations. And then there's kind of a whole package of other principles that have to do with working in much smaller teams that are more autonomous. There are kind of some engineering practices that comes with this, because if you're going to work in this way, you probably also want to have the right software architecture to support a more kind of, let's say, modular way of working. So you can have these, short iterations in a good way, and so forth. So, on a very kind of high level, that is the main difference between waterfall and agile.